Has he sent you an invoice, by the way, meaning Stewart, of all the stuff you tore up when you actually drove for him?
No, he hasn't. But last night he said, I know we won a lot of races. We did crash some cars, but he said, I feel like it all paid off this weekend. So that was pretty cool.
So Ryan writes in, deer season just opened here in Mississippi. Are you a hunter?
I hunt a little bit. Growing up, I didn't hunt that much. I just never had time. I was always in the race shop, and that's what I had. That's what I had love for is racing. I'd get out of school, go straight to the shop, and then right back to school. But no, I will be hunting in the off season. My buddy's got a couple deer camps down there, and we'll go and do a little hunting. So in December is about the only time I get to do that.
Matt S. writes in his question, have you slept or drank out of the trophy right behind us like the hockey players do in the NHL with the Stanley Cup?
Well, last night was the first night I went to bed since. So no, I haven't slept with it.
Do you take it with you, or do you have like a special person assigned to take care of this special piece?
I think NASCAR had it last night.
Yeah.
I had it the night before. I had it in the room. We all went and hung out, and then I went. We got back, and I took it out on the beach and took some pictures with it. Actually, put my cowboy hat down and acted like I woke up on the beach with it. That was kind of cool. And then I went to the racetrack at 8 o'clock Sunday morning, so I haven't had too much time with it. It's pretty cool though. It's the best trophy I've ever got. I can tell you that.
Do you have a spot for it at home already?
I don't. But yeah, I think we're going to have to make something. But we're going to have a strong table because that's a pretty hefty trophy.
That's pretty sporty. Well, I'll tell you what, Rose Dawson writes in, and she wants to know, talking about the off-season before the NASCAR season kicks up in February, she wants to know, are you going to team up with Trevor Bayne in the 24 Hours of Daytona?
I don't know. Trevor had talked about it. I need some more road course experience.
And that might be a good opportunity. I mean,
24 hours is a good amount
Roush
of time.
has a lot of history in the 24 hours.
I know, but what's tough about that is he won it 10 years in a row, and he's never lost it. So I don't want to go ruin that, I mean, we're going to go out to win, but Jack says you got to have, 2 good years to make sure everything is ready for that race, because we have talked about it. And one of the things is he said he won all those races is because before he ran his first one, he was really prepared. And obviously being out of it now, I don't know if he can be that prepared yet. So if something comes up, it should be a fun event. But I know Trevor's working hard on that, so hopefully he can get that done for us.
Another question from Chris. He writes in, what car suits your style more, the Fusion or the Mustang? Or do you really notice a huge difference in the cockpit?
You notice a huge difference sitting in the cockpit. Obviously, the inside of the race car is a lot bigger. The front windshield's bigger. But as far as the driving characteristics of it, by far the Mustang suits me. Up and over the top better than the Fusion did. You can run it sideways. You can hang it out. You can. There's a lot of things that you can do with that race car that you couldn't do with our Ford Fusions. And I think that's one thing that's kind of helped contribute to this year and some of our successes. This car, I really adapted to it and really like the way it drives compared to those Fusions that seemed like everybody else had those figured out. When they brought in these new cars for us, it was about the same playing field for everybody, and I think that really helped us out.
Jason writes in, and you mentioned last night taking pictures with the old man. He asked, what was it like taking pictures with all 3 champions last night? Because yourself and Dylan, 2 stars of the future, which will help carry that NASCAR bandwagon, and Stewart, obviously a legend already in the sport.
It was really cool. We were taking the pictures and going back and looking at the pictures is what's really neat. And the one cool thing I think is Tony grew up racing dirt sprint cars, USAC. Obviously did the same thing. And then Austin, he grew up racing dirt late models. So it was a bunch of dirt racers that won championships in NASCAR this year. And I don't know if that's ever been done before, but it's cool that dirt racers are up on the top of the standings these days.
Well, your buddy won a boat last night for winning the championship, and Mr. R here writes in, he wants to know, did you get any additional prizes for winning the Nationwide Cup?
I got a sweet Nationwide refrigerator coming. It looks like a toolbox, and it's going to have pictures of our championship on there and maybe some wins on it. That's coming. And then last year I got Rookie of the Year, and I got Jack and Ford to give me a Roush Mustang. I'm not sure what I'm going to try to pry out of them this year, but I'll let y'all know if I get something cool.
Well, we'll have to work on the negotiations of that. So, especially being Champions Weekend, he's in full celebration
Etzel's
mode.
here this weekend. He's coming to the banquet.
Exactly.
So hopefully I can talk him into something.
What's it like hanging around someone like Edsel Ford, whose family, obviously the Ford family, and Edsel has such a passion for racing. His childhood hero is Jackie Stewart, so he understands what's it like to look up to someone on a pedestal that is a driver. So what's it like hanging around someone like that also has such passion for the sport?
It's amazing hanging around somebody that's family is meant so much to racing and to Jack Roush's racing, but to America. I mean, it's like that family has done so much across the board, and to sit there and conversate with him, hanging out in the bus, and he has his family down here this weekend. He's an easy guy to get along with.
Very down to earth.
Down to earth, really easy to talk to, get along with, and will support you in anything. It's cool to be associated with the Ford family.
Full Wrench writes in. His question is: are the black cowboy boots broken in for the banquet?
Oh, they're definitely broke in. But when you get comfortable boots from Tony Lama Ostrich, they're always broke in just about when you get them. So Tony Lama hooked me up with a new pair. They shipped them down this week, and I can't wait to wear them tonight. So
have you worked on your speech at all? Any idea, some things you might surprise the crowd with?
I don't know if there's no big surprises.
Are you nervous?
I tell you what, I've done, I've had to do speeches before. And they're always nerve-wracking just because I'm not used to doing that. I'm used to getting in the helmet.
I mean,
in the
because
car,
some people we
putting
get
the
up
helmet
there,
on.
I mean, the sweat is almost pouring down. They're so nervous.
I've gotten better at that. Maybe 2 years ago would have been pretty bad. But no, I've looked at it. We're working on it. No, the speech is done, and I think we should have a good night tonight.
Okay. Another question here from Chris. He writes in: how have you learned to balance aggression and patience during a race? Because that's really what a lot of people said when you first hit the NASCAR scene, coming from the USAC cars. Tremendous speed. If you can pull back the reins on him, this kid is going to go, so high.
It's tough, and obviously I think that's what got us in a lot of trouble there in 2010 is, I'm a guy that wants to drive 110% the whole race. So there's a lot of, just things that I had to think about and really learn to process. Going down the straightaway, I had to do it this weekend. 2 cars fan out, and I want to go through the middle of them, or 3 cars fan out, and I want to make it 4 wide. There's a lot of times earlier in the race that I'm having to, hey, that's not a good idea. Let's not do that. And it's tough to do that, but I think that's what the great race car drivers do. They make it to the end of these races. They can put it 4 wide. It's not a problem if they can do it, but they do it at the right time. And I think that's what I've learned so far this season compared to last season.
And you mentioned 2010, and for some folks that are watching at their computers, hiding from their bosses during lunch, back in 2010, you were fast, but you also tore up a lot of cars to the point where Jack sat you down for a few races to sort of think about the entire big picture of racing.
I wasn't just sitting down. He had me in the shop.
I meant sitting down out of the car.
He had me sitting down out of the car. But no, they kept me busy for sure. I had to get to the shop at 6:30 every morning with the guys. And,
wow.
And I got an hour lunch break, and I got an hour to work out, and left at 5:30.
Did they make you clean parts? What exactly?
No,
did you do?
heck, I was building quarter panels. I was building sides. I was cutting cars up and getting them ready for new clips to go on them.
Now, were these cars that you wrecked that you had to take the stuff off of? Or?
Some of them were mine. Some of them were other people's, and it gave me a really appreciation for all the hard work that those guys do. And but yeah, sitting out of the car was tough. It makes you sit back and it's like, hey, I got to get something figured out here. And luckily, it all worked out.
Back in the day when Greg Biffle, your teammate at Roush Fenway, when he was running nationwide and went into Cup, he was notorious for knocking the right side off the car, to the point where the Fab guys took a die cast of his car, a ball-peen hammer, and beat up the right side of it, and then tie wrapped it to the roll bar that goes by the driver's seat, just to remind him, save the right side. So it's funny, kind of, what
He
you
had to
learn.
work in the body shop too.
Oh yeah.
So it's like Jack has his own ways of doing things. People ask me about it all the time. I was like, look, I try to take it as a positive. If Jack didn't care, he would just let me keep doing that, and then finally get rid of me. But for him to put me in the body shop and take the time to make sure that I'm there, then I felt like he really meant that. He wanted me to get better and wanted me to be a part of his company. So that's the way I took it. I think if I would have taken it, in a negative way, I might not have made it.
When you look back, you've had some time now to digest what took place Saturday, not only Saturday night with the celebration, but backing it up throughout the entire race. And a good question here from Bill. He wants to know, were you ever nervous during the race, and were you wondering at times when they were going to tell you that you'd actually clinch the championship?
We talked about that. We were just, Nationwide Insurance had a nice breakfast for us this morning, and we were sitting there talking about it, and my crew chief said that he said they didn't tell him till lap 96, but, it had to be lap 30 or 40. I saw it on the TV screen. I was like, maybe they're just not telling me.
So you were watching it on the Jumbotron as you were driving by?
Under caution.
Under caution.
Under caution. And so I'm like, man, it says right there that we won, but nobody said anything, so I didn't say anything. I just kept driving, and finally he told us, and it was a huge sigh of relief, just, whew, all right, let's go racing, and then we almost won that thing. That'd have been really cool to do.
Do you think people would be surprised at what you guys can take in as far as all the information, what you see, especially under caution, fans in the stands, people holding up signs?
It's funny. I think different race car drivers, look at different things. Under caution, I'm looking around, checking out people in the stands, things like that. Coming for a pit stop, you're looking at who's sitting on your pit box. But then when you go green, you got to get focused. And I'm so focused when I'm out there at what I'm doing. We were at Phoenix, a new track, to us, and we were out there testing. Carl Edwards, and we were fast. Carl Edwards came up and he said, "Hey, what cones are you lifting at going into turn one?" I said, "What cones are you talking about?" He's like, "There's cones hanging in the fence." I was like, "Dude, I never even saw those cones," because I'm so focused on what I'm doing. But he was using those as a reference points because we all have different things that we use, and that's just how focused I am once we get going green.
Our final question today here on our Nationwide Champions Chat is, what was it like to do the dual burnout with Carl after the race? And was it planned?
It was planned. Trevor and I had actually talked about it. If he could have won the race, Carl win the owners and us win the drivers, then us all three doing it. Well, Trevor had a really good shot at winning that race, and I maybe got into the wall. I can't remember what happened there, but I told Carl before the race, I was like, "You win the owners, let's nose them up and do a good burnout for Jack," and that's what we did. So it was planned.
Well, Ricky, congratulations again.
Thank you.
We appreciate Ricky Stenhouse stopping by for our Nationwide Champions Chat presented by Nationwide Insurance. We appreciate you stopping by and spending your time right here on NASCAR.com as Champions Week continues in South Florida. Have a great week, everyone.